Glenbrook Gully and Cypress Point Channel sediment removal project was basically the removal of all the sediment and accumulated debris in the Glenbrook Gully and Cypress Point system, which flows from the end of the Gatewood Ditch all the way to Escambia Bay. The failure of the Gatewood Ditch resulted in over 10,000 cubic yards of sediment being deposited in the channel, as well as a lot of other sediment that washed from adjacent areas along the gully. As a result, the entire gully was filled in and there was no capacity for it to move any water. This project was originally a Army Corps of Engineers project designed in the 70s and built by NRCS in the end of the 70s, early 80s, and it consists of 3 weirs and interconnecting channels that move the water from one end down gradient through a fairly sharp drop of over 65 feet from one end to the other. And it then exits under Scenic Highway out through the Cypress Point Channel through a small housing area where it hits Escambia Bay. This was a very visible failure, and it resulted in massive sediment plumes out into Escambia Bay. So it was imperative that we got all of that sediment recovered and out before it eventually would wash out to the bay.
And it was one of those experiences that seemed almost surreal. You could watch the Weather Channel and the red just continued to be over Pensacola and Escambia County all night long. It was an amazing night. We had roads that were washed away. We had significant impact all over. For me in District 4, Escambia County, and I think of 7 of the projects that you operated in, 5 of them happened here in District 4, most of them associated with this same water outflow that is behind me here, which is known as the Glenbrook Gully. It ties into the Gatewood Ditch and it really drains all of Ferry Pass, a residential area. So what happened was that whole area just overflowed the amount of drainage that we had, and once it began to overflow, the water was strong enough that it just began to take everything out. It took out the road on Johnson Avenue. It's dumped a significant amount of sediment into this, which leads behind us straight out into Escambia Bay, and an important estuary there, which really doesn't need to get any more sediment, which is why we have this set of falls and other things in here to try to protect sediment from getting out into our estuaries. Federal tax dollars are invaluable to our community. Our community could not have sustained this impact that happened to it on its own. We needed the additional monies to be able to recover, to put ourselves back right. Our budget could not have sustained, it was not sustainable for us to be able to take all the impacts that we received. That would have been a significant strain on Escambia County's budget if we had to sort of self-insure ourselves and cover all those costs. Those federal dollars were invaluable to us getting back up on our feet, to us establishing what we need to for both our citizens in our neighborhoods, but also for our environmentally sensitive areas like Escambia Bay.
And the whole concept behind the EWP program is is a recovery program where we provide assistance to local sponsors after a disaster.
But it is probably one of the best ways we spend tax dollars that you can ever come up with, because it is truly giving back to the communities what they put out to begin with. And to me, it is one of the best ways to do it.
It's been a pleasure dealing with the people that's been out here working. They've all been nice and cooperative and seem to be really conscientious about what they do.
By all means, we believe any municipality or county or parish should look at any way they could to partner with NRCS. This was important for us. We would not have been able to get back on our feet like we were without it. NRCS was a great partner, and I would highly encourage and recommend that any community find a way to partner with them in the sense of recovery. These things, you can't control these natural disasters and what happens. You can only pick up the pieces afterwards, and we could not have done that without NRCS.